about that would be like interesting, useful to our audience?
Well, I always like the concept of, how to scene. How does a scene happen? How do you make it? How does it be successful? How's like the Richmond scene form? How'd the Atlanta scene form? Like all of those things. What infrastructure do you need? What things do the groups need to do? Because like you can have a very interconnected scene, but that doesn't mean it's a good scene that's going to get successful. That means you got people who are friendly with each other.
That is true, but even the discussion of that could bring up contention. So are we looking for discussion or debate, I guess is another question.
I think a healthy discussion has a good amount of debate.
Yes, I can do one and the same very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that is a good thing to debate, especially if people from the scene are trying to listen.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's a healthy debate, I think that the debate type discussion is much more interesting to people than just a discussion, It's good to have different opinions about things, and it's a healthy thing to have different opinions about things, and it's good to have all different sides and not butting heads about it,
And it's easier to ramble if it's something like you feel passionately about. And it's easier to feel passionately if like you have to actually think about why you feel about it and like disagree with somebody.
If there's someone to push back and force you to dig deeper into your beliefs.
It's like, I don't think you're wrong. I just hadn't thought about that. This is what I'm thinking about, Unless whatever opinion is just in the general sense not correct, I don't think it's a stupid opinion,
Yeah, I'd say find some slightly more controversial topics to cover. You get me started talking about posters.
Hey man, talk about that poster with the UFOs that we saw at the cave.
Gee, talk about the poster that was just put up for the show Hermaeus is doing at the skate park. That's with like Until They Bleed, Hermaeus, and like 2 other heavy metal bands. It's a fucking screenshot from Pro Skater, or like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. No edits, nothing. It's just a screenshot from it. And this is like a hard metal band show. And then people complain why no one comes to their shows.
I think that leads into what would make a good point of discussion, if not this session, then later on, is how to execute proper marketing, which is something I think a majority of the people around here are lacking in, myself included.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bands are a business at the end of the day to an extent.
Yeah.
Everything like technically could be viewed as a business, but yeah, and you gotta like respect your aesthetic when it comes to your marketing.
Right. You gotta be true to yourself, but you have to put yourself out there in a way. And well, it's just, I don't think a screenshot from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 is very representative of anybody.
Yeah. Well, if you're like doing like a lighter, like young dudes skate punk type energy, like, I could see you doing that. Like, this is a quirky little funny thing. But I'm like, if you're doing some intense metal bands at your show,
yeah,
like, no, that don't make sense, man. Like,
well, I think that it would probably lead into the simplest point of proper marketing is that it requires effort.
Mm-hmm. And thinking about who your marketing thing is going to attract, like,
right.
It requires knowledge of your audience, and this is why I spend a lot of time thinking about genre, even though it may not be the most useful thing to explain musicality. It's very important when you're thinking about how you communicate with your audience, because a punk band, they can get away with that. Sort of the ethos of punk is, it's the aesthetic merit of low effort content.
Finding the least amount of effort necessary to convey the message and to get people in.
Yeah, so like a shitpost poster it's kind of punk. It communicates that it's this kind of show. You're going to show up, have a lot of fun to some really energetic 3-chord bands. But if you're a metal band trying to communicate that you do stuff that's like supposed to be heavy and sublime, that very much sends the wrong message. You want to come off as more than human. You want to, in your marketing, display the values of metal, which are, superhuman skill is one of the hallmarks of metal. There's some genres that sort of defy it, but that's a lot of what it's based on.
That's why you shred.
Yeah.
Give me all the notes.
Screenshot from Tony Hawk Pro Skater does not communicate, I am a great artist doing something that you can't do. It doesn't give me a reason to believe you should be on stage any more than the audience. Whereas punk, the idea is, yeah, anyone in the audience can just hop on stage, pick up an instrument, and do what we're doing. It's a populist thing, whereas metal is not.
Yeah.
They do be shredding in Tony Hawk.
That is zero lie in that statement. Maybe it's that subliminal kind of message that I'm not getting.
Manipulating a picture of Harry to look like an eldritch abomination.
That was half because I was pissed at Harry and half a shitpost, but fun shitposting.
Next poster we make is going to have one of the many pictures of Ethan's head bleeding.
Yes. We need more pictures of Ethan's head bleeding. Ethan, you need to try harder in the future.
I think more people need more pictures like, say, their own Ethan with their head bleeding, because then it's also, it's original, I think an advertisement should be a very original thing, something that's unique, not something that anyone can take a screenshot of something else that's already there, make it their thing. You gotta have something special to you,
It says a lot about the band and the venue and really everyone involved when there's as much artistry put into the advertisement as there might be into just a regular work of visual art. I think there's no reason not to treat every aspect of your marketing as art.
Well, and I think a lot of people who think they can just make posters and, yeah, instead of actually finding like poster makers. Like there's a dude, Mr. Crank, or on Instagram, who used to do a lot of posters for the 506, and they're like really good posters, and he used a lot of like photo scanning art back into stuff, and like his posts on the posters are the poster, and then all the slides are like up close views of the textures of each element and the things, and his main like goal is the art of it before actually conveying the information. And they are some of my favorite posters. There was one at the Cave that was put up.
And that's an entirely different discussion. How do you convey information? I mean, it should be pretty straightforward. There's a lineup. The headlining band goes at the top, and it descends in the order that they perform. And it's baffling how often people just kind of don't do that.
And don't feel like there's a reason that you should know what the lineup is before the show, and thinks it's just arbitrary which order you go in. And also thinks what time you start a show doesn't matter. Like if you book 4 bands, you better not be starting at 8, because then even just booking 4 bands is a bad idea in my opinion. It just doesn't make sense for anybody getting to pull an audience. If the opener wants the headliner's audience, the opener's not getting the headliner's audience if they're playing if there's 2 bands between, because I'm not even staying at a show I pay like good money for 4 bands, because I'm going to get tired, and I'm not going to go hard for the opener, because I'm saving my energy for the headliner if it's going to be this long. But like if you put one like actual opener, like a 15-minute, get some people a little energized, and then 2 banger bands, that actually gets people going hard and actually benefits both bands.
Well, I'm kind of on the different side of that. I think if you're going to cram a bunch of bands into one show, I don't think it would so much be an uninterest to the people watching, because, I think there's a fair amount of people they could find fun in just about anybody who would play. But I think if you're going to put a bunch of people on a stage with a strict time frame, it's just not fair to the people. I don't think anyone should have to only play, 25, 30 minutes. Unless you're a punk band, play 2-song sets. You can really move a crowd with that. But I don't know. I think it does a disservice to the people's art if it has to be so constrained.
Well, so for about like the shorter openers is mostly so you can give the headliners like the two, in my like theoretical thing, the 15-minute opener, then 2 headliners. The 15-minute thing would have to be a very specific band that is their thing. Like they can get their point across in that short of time. Like a grindcore band playing for 15 minutes, that's exactly what a grindcore band's gonna do. And my main thing about the audience is specifically for metal shows because humans only have a limited amount of stamina to go hard. And so if you actually want people going like hard in the pit for multiple bands, you need to actually like understand that they can't go for 4 bands or they will die. At least that's what my experience and why I don't mosh for a lot of bands at this point is. I'm like, I can't turn up for you guys because I will be dead.
Right.
And I'll say a lot of it's just about communication, which is very much lacking in arranging shows nowadays. Because the thing I see pretty often is the opening band starts, people are coming in the venue, the middle band is playing, the venue's packed, and by the time it gets to the headliner, there's fewer people than there were for the opening band. That's exactly what happened at the last show we played.
Yeah.
And that does a disservice to the art if, I mean, you're starting your show so late that most of the audience is going home by the time what is ostensibly the most important band of the night is playing.
Yes, mainly it's the band that's like supposedly selling the most tickets. Like that's
Right.
it's baffling.
Bands need to be willing to talk about time slots, not just assume, yeah, every band's going to play between 30 and 45 minutes. And also just consider that their audience has lives and they're not going to be able to show up to a place super early on weekdays is one thing, but they're also not going to be able to stay super late before weekdays, definitely, but any day people get tired, people like to sleep.
And I mean, that comes back to people not treating it or being scared to act like it's a business. Like one big thing that has thrown me off is there has never been a single contract signed for any show I've ever done. And there's never been a discussion about what the pay split is between any of the bands. It's either the venue does it themselves or the bands just kind of do it and call it a day. Like, I don't know why there's not contracts for like just simple ones for any of this.
Probably because the majority of the people that are doing these kinds of things are young, something that they look past, and so it's something that, the venue owners, they don't have to worry about. It's just, they don't care. They'll take care of it.
Yeah, and that plus a lot of people are doing it for fun. But then that gets to a point where, like, if you're trying to do it much more seriously, there's so many bands who won't be asking a venue about contracts or about all this, like, more business-related stuff. And so you might, like, annoy the venue asking too many questions about, like, logistics. And so that makes a lot of bands scared to ask about logistics at a certain point because they're like, oh, they might not want to book us later because if we're too on them, there's more bands that are way more, like, desperate to play shows. At least that's my semi-experience.
The venue owners are choices if they don't want to talk business.
Yeah.
Part of it is a lot of the DIY scene is supported by bar circuits. Basically venues that would do just fine if they didn't have any concerts at all. It just happens that if you have a concert there, people buy more drinks.
And so, yeah, getting too on them might make them a little annoyed at you or not want to work with you because, it's a hassle to deal with these guys.
Which isn't necessarily true. That's just sort of the mindset because you realize this venue doesn't need you.
And a lot of people are just thrilled that, the venue will let us be there. Heck yeah, brother.
But they could be gearing towards the worst bands possible to play there, to gear towards the people who want to see live music and they're too stubborn to leave for this terrible band, so they'll keep drinking more to enjoy the show.
That's the ultimate strategy. You hire bands so bad that everyone there has to drink more.
They lock the door when the show starts.
You gotta get more.
You can't get out.
That's actually a good strategy. I want to try that.